Hi all. I had in the Southend quite a tough game in the first round against someone who in theory I should have beaten. He was only about ECF 130, but apparently after the game he told me he had a part rating of about 2050 Vd. So I don't know if he did seem to play quite resourcefully against me, and in fact in this game there was a stunning piece sacrifice. So I was white. I played C4. So my opponent's C.Jones. He played knight f6, and I played knight c3. And with this English opening, as well as avoiding, more theoretical, sharp stuff like like you have with e4, I wanted to sort of keep the tension going, keep the pressure on my opponent. But it really didn't work out. The opponent never really was under great pressure, and in fact it was me that was under huge pressure later. So we'll see how that happened. So up to g6, g3, he played c6, and I was intrigued with this move. I just thought, maybe if I play e4 here, then I'm answering d5 with takes and then e5 with a good position. But maybe let's have a quick look at that. d5, if black tries to break out immediately. In fact, Rybka gives this as equal. CD. I just thought, e5. But actually, knight e4 here, apparently. So this is quite interesting. Why isn't white just winning a pawn with queen a4? Bishop d7. And there's a tactical trick now with this bishop d7. If queen e4, then bishop c6. So that would be quite nasty. So in this position, it's not very good for white. So if black can play knight e4 here, then maybe, already, white hasn't played that accurately. If black has d5 to liberate the position. But he played actually d6. And now bishop g2, bishop g7, h3. So with h3, I spent a long time to try and decide on this move. Do I want to play d4 or d3? I thought h3 would be useful because I didn't want this tempo gain with bishop g4 and then back to e6 attacking my c pawn. I also thought h3 would be useful later to help g4. So after h3 he played knight d7, knight bd7. After knight ge2 he plays e5. So in this kind of position, sometimes it's a bad idea to play d4 because when black takes, they get the e5 square. But to counterbalance that, black would have this backward pawn which is more exposed on the semi-open d file. So that's got to be factored in. And there are various times when d4, was possible in this game instead of going for the king side attack, or going for the opponent's king. So let's see, castles. Now I played f4. So it seemed logical if I can get in f5. This is like a sort of King's Indian defense type attack in reverse. Now he played knight h5. So I was, quite keen now to play f5, which I thought, this was a great position at the time. I didn't see, what black was doing. But he played an intriguing move now, which I really, thought he's putting his king in real danger with this move by playing bishop h6. Although, I have weakened a lot of the dark squares in my position, his bishop is also, it's not just, it's defending his king. So if I can get into h6, I thought, it would be quite dangerous for his king safety. So that's why I did play d3, not minding the weakening of my dark squares. But something horrible happened later, which made this whole attacking plan quite futile. After takes, queen takes, so my queen is also poised to come into h6, and I was very confident at this stage, as though it was going to be a quick knockout victory. He played knight c5, and here I played rook f3, which Rybka doesn't even mention. The more precise moves apparently are either king h2 or queen d2. Now king h2 has the idea of just sacking the d pawn, because after queen d2, this d6 pawn, which seems to be a recurring, underlying theme, to get access to this d6, it comes under real fire. Knight c5, rook ad1, and apparently white will end up with an advantage. in this kind of position. So I've got a nice space advantage on the king side, and also I'm controlling the d file here. So this will be a lot better than the game continuation, how the game unfolded. So anyway, let's go back. So knight c5, I played rook f3. And after knight g7, I played first b4. And after knight d7, now queen h6. So I've been calculating quite a few variations here based on g takes f5, and then me playing rook f1. In fact, let's have a look at that. G takes. In fact, there's also queen takes d6, which I did actually notice during the game. But I was less interested in queen takes d6 because of queen f6, you know, trading queens, and I didn't really want that. But this is good for white. Say takes, and then e takes f5. Here there's a tactical problem for black that he can't take on f5, because then rook f1, it seems to be winning a piece actually. Not f5, or even just g4 immediately now. So that would be great for white. So he didn't play g takes f5, he actually played queen f6, and he set a little trap which I fell completely into. I wonder if you can spot my move, which kind of ruins my attacking chances. What move would you play? I'll give you 5 seconds starting from now. Okay, there's a couple of moves which do retain, according to Ripka, an advantage. One of them is the queen retreat, queen e3. The other's queen d2. So basically both involve getting the queen out of h6. So why is this a big problem? Well, I played rook f1, and black closed the door on my queen by playing g5. And now all of black's dark square strategy is a lot more justified if there's no king safety issues. The queens are forcibly traded off, and not only that, my position has become kind of awkwardly geared up, on the king side. All these pieces on the king side, aiming for like g4 and h4. They're not really geared up for a queenside counter-attack. But the queenside counter-attack doesn't seem very likely here, because a5, b5, and I'm keeping things closed on the queen side. Also, I fought. So I played g4, not really concerned that my position is sort of geared up just for kingside activity. Maybe like rook g3, king f2, rook h1, h4, to try and proceed with this h-file attack. So I was still slightly optimistic, but a bit disappointed the queens had come off at this stage. And I was really expecting h5, which actually Ribka gives, because it's a very quick way of shutting down the king side. Because if I take here, I'm letting a knight come into f4. Knight and black has the advantage. And if I don't take, then if he plays h4, then that's the king side blocked up. But he actually played h6. So I was still encouraged with this plan of going for h4, and I wanted to now stop black playing h5, which is why I played rook g3. So I can answer now with just g takes and rook takes g5. So he plays bishop d7, and here, although my activities have been concerned around his king, maybe it is a cute fluffy idea to go for the king now, because the queens have come off. Maybe more important is this potential weakness, d6, more strategically important. Try and rip open this semi-open d file and get pressure going. Ribka actually gives d4 as the most clinical move here. And in this particular position, he would take more time than usual to reroute a knight to e5 because his bishop's on d7. So say ed, knight d4, rook fe8. This position is apparently better for white. The rook is also able now to come to d3. So rook e7, rook fd1. And here, okay, I've got this backward pawn on the semi-open file, but so is the opponent. So say rook, the other rook joins in. Now knight b3, and the bishop at least is doing something very useful. It's protecting e4, and this knight's a bit trapped. It hasn't got many squares thanks to this pawn. So here white stands a lot better. In fact, Ribka thinks white's easily winning.